Hey, how's it going? It's Walsh here, sick as always. Today I want to talk about Path of Exile 2 and Ruthless and the difference between them. I've been seeing a lot of stuff from people that honestly do not play Ruthless because they say things that are just absolutely untrue, and I just want to talk about and compare them a little bit. But just to be very upfront before we talk about anything, I just want to be very clear. Path of Exile 2 is awesome. I'm still playing the game. I'm playing it a lot longer than I thought I would. I'm having a great time, but I just want to be very clear. Path of Exile 2, in my opinion, is significantly easier than Path of Exile 1. I'm going to break down why I think that, but before I do, I think it's fair to say what experience I have so you can at least understand what position I'm coming from. And just remember, this is just my opinion. And Path of Exile 2 is an awesome game. It doesn't have to be more difficult than Ruthless, but I think there's a lot of misinformation about PoE2, and I just want to share my thoughts on it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's compare some things with Ruthless, and I think even just these first 2 points will prove my point. But I just want to go down the line so you can see where I'm coming from and understand why I really believe that Ruthless is much more difficult. And again, PoE2 doesn't need to be more difficult, I just don't understand why it keeps being said. First of all, I want to show you something. So this is on Ruthless right now. I hosted an event called RNG Nightmare. Add a couple of rules, made it a little more difficult. It was really fun. I want you to look at my stash. Do you see my stash? That's how much money I have. In this league, I have run almost 300 maps. Actually, no, I did run 300 maps. Yeah, so we ran 300 maps. I have a level 83 character. I have a 33, an 82, and a 24. Obviously, these two did nothing. So I have two 80 plus characters. If you've never played Ruthless, leveling is not only way slower in Ruthless, but you also lose a ton of XP once you die after you complete the third camp. Or I almost said third campaign. After you do Act 10. And just look at my money. I have nothing. Look at my gear. I mean, granted, the body armor is okay. My ring has 40 life on it. My helmet's okay, has 1 res on it. 80 life, 1 res. My amulet's whatever. I will say the attributes are kind of nice, but other than that, these are my gloves, my belt, and my boots. My gear is terrible. I am using a Combs Primacy, but that is by choice because I was trying to play a really janky character, which we are. But anyway, that's besides the point. We have no resources. I have been able to craft like 3 things-ish. Our map pool is okay. You know, we don't have infinite maps of anything right now. We're still not done our tier 10s, still not done our tier 9s. And again, this is 300 maps. Now, granted, the main argument I keep seeing people say is like, oh, if you play a meta character on Ruthless, then it's easy. Sure, but that's absolutely true for PoE2 as well, but we'll get more into that later. But before anything, crafting and currency, the difference is so massive, like, I don't know how you could ever compare them. So this is what I have. Keep this in mind. Now, let's take a look at PoE2. I have a level 79, and I have a level 71. I really wish we had the hideout decoration that showed us how many exalts we've used, because I have easily used 70 plus exalts. And let's see how many I have left. I have 9. I have 450 augmentations, 180 transmutes. I've been deleting currency left and right, and I can't run out of exalts. My gear for SSF is really freaking good, and everything I am wearing, I crafted. Every single thing was an item with 2 mods on it, and I exalted it until there was no slots left. I'm not saying my gear is perfect. I'm not saying my gear can't get better, because it absolutely can. But it is leagues and leagues and leagues better than the gear I have on my Ruthless League. Not only was that a league, but it was also trade. That's the thing I didn't want to show you. Because just think about that. Even on trade, that's what my character looked like. I just don't know how. I mean, obviously, look at this. Look at this. Like, imagine having this in Ruthless, just this amulet. If you had just this amulet in Ruthless, you would be a god. You would be set for the entire league. And again, like I know we're going to be comparing a lot here, but PoE2 doesn't have to be harder than Ruthless. I've already said it a couple times, so I just want to be very clear. I just don't know why it keeps being said. You can craft, I mean, look, I'm level 71 and what, 79? So I've done what? I don't even know how many maps that is, so I kind of don't want to just throw out a number because it could be very, very wrong and disingenuous. But I would be shocked. if I have done more. Well, let's think here, right? So I've done up to tier 7 for the quest, and you had to do like 10 or whatever. So maybe at most I've done 100 maps. Maybe. So a third of the maps, and I have crafted some of the most insane gear I've ever seen in my life in the Ruthless format. I have insane money. I have tons of maps, and even though the tree. Okay, let me talk about this as well, because we've already covered currency. There's no argument to be made, right? Let's just go over that really quickly. There's no argument to be made. The amount of currency you get in PoE2 is as much as you would get from like a month and a half or 2 months of farming on Ruthless. And even more so, let me put this in perspective. If you've never played Ruthless, you've never played SSF Ruthless, I have gone entire leagues without dropping one exalt. And I play every single league between 10 and 20 characters. And we were only counting characters above 80. So 80, like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, there's so much currency. It's so much currency. I was gonna go into more how much time it takes to get to 80 on Ruthless, but I think I've already proved my point. We're gonna talk about some more things, but the amount of currency in PoE2 is a joke. You can't even compare it. I've had probably 40 to 50 regals. Like I said, I have easily done 50 or 60 exalts. Keep in mind, I have some other really good gear in here too, and everything I have crafted. I have not dropped one good item as it stood. Not a single one. And look at my Essence tab. Like, I know Essence isn't as good here, but dude, Essence of Ruthless is also not insane. It's good, and it's definitely weaker here. But in a way, Essence is kind of better here because you have infinite Exalts, you have basically infinite Regals, and I just think it's way stronger. I mean, most of my gear was made with using an Essence and then Regal Exalting, so already I think my point is well proven. Let's talk about another thing here. So if you've never played Ruthless, I have to keep saying it because if you haven't played Ruthless, I think a lot of people have this very warped perception of Ruthless because of a lot of stuff that's been said, just to kind of like pull like attention to themselves, where it's just not true. Like Ruthless mode is not some mode where like we just enjoy having an awful time. Ruthless is all about the more time you put in, the more enjoyment you get out of it. It's all about building from nothing, finding things that you never would have even considered using in the past, and then making it the focal point of your entire character. That for me, and I think a lot of people that play Ruthless, that is what Ruthless is. Yes, Ruthless is insanely hard. Yes, Ruthless requires a lot of patience and understanding. But the thing is, if you were a brand new player, I would say start on Ruthless. But if you were brand new to ARPGs, period, I would say start on PoE2, try Path of Exile Ruthless mode. I would recommend SSF, but if you just enjoy trade on Ruthless is awesome. I only play SSF, but if I was ever going to play trade, it would be on Ruthless. But anyway, that's the order I would recommend. If someone was brand new to ARPGs, I'd be like, hey, play PoE2, and if you like that, try Ruthless mode for a weekend. So I did the same thing with myself when it comes to trying this game. Let me tell you, for the entire time that they've talked about Ruthless, or sorry, not Ruthless, PoE2, I have not been excited. I have not been interested. I have not cared. I didn't think this game was going to be for me. And I did what I tell other people to do when trying Ruthless. I didn't just play it for 4 hours and say this game sucks or I don't like it. I played for 3 days. I played for 4 hours a day when the game came out, and honestly, I'm glad I did because Saturday night I was like, PoE2 is not for me. I don't want to play it. And if I would have done that, I would have missed out on a lot of fun. Now, we're going to talk about the most egregious difference between Ruthless and PoE2. Let's talk about gems. The gem difference from Ruthless to PoE2 is hilarious. It's it's not comparable. It's a joke. Basically, if you've never played on Ruthless, you cannot buy support gems. You cannot buy gems period except with an uncut gem which you get 3 of for a character. So just keep that in mind. Imagine if you got 3 of these for your entire campaign. 3 of them. You do get some gems for quests, that is true, but you don't get any auras except for the basic ones like Clarity, Precision, Vitality. One of the banners, and it's either Blood and Stone or the other one. I always get them mixed up. But other than that, you get nothing. On Ruthless, not only do you get infinite active gems, and you can get any aura you want at any time, and these things drop by the legions. I don't even pick most of them up anymore, and I'll never run out. But the most disgusting, easy part, and not disgusting as in bad, because for PoE2 it makes sense. It completely makes sense. This is absolutely a great system for PoE2. But if these things were in Ruthless, I would immediately stop playing Ruthless. It would defeat the entire point. You have no idea the struggle of going from Act 1. Think about PoE 1, right? Imagine yourself on Bench League, and if anyone ever tells you Bench League is an insult, it's not. It's just faster than saying non ruthless. People only say Bench League because in PoE 1, you have a crafting bench. In Ruthless, you don't. So it's just a very easy way to go back and forth. It's not an insult. Anyway, imagine yourself playing Bench League, where you can buy any active gem you want, any aura you want, but what if you had zero supports, even into Tier 1, Tier 2 maps? That is your average experience on Ruthless. On average, from my 20 something, let's average it at like 12 characters a league, even though I usually have, like I said, 10 to 20. 12 characters a league, I almost never drop a support gem for my build before maps. Almost never. I'm almost always on a 1 link, maybe a 2 link with an odd support. Almost every league. Sure, there are outliners where you might get lucky or whatever, but generally that's how it goes. So think about that. Think about any skill you want, the most broken, overpowered meta skill. Now go through the entire campaign on a 1 link without crafting any gear and having no money. That's what leveling in Ruthless is like for the mass majority of the time. Now, think about this. Think about that exact same scenario. You have no money, you have no gems, and you have no gear. Now roll something trash. Now play something like C or D tier for a skill or a character and going through the campaign with that. On average, that is how I like to play because it's fun, and I think a lot of people that I know in the Ruthless community like to play like that. That's why we randomize our ascendancies and stuff. Think about that. In this game, so let's compare. In this game, you have infinite gems, both active and support, and of course your auras, but those are active gems. In addition, you have infinite currency, and you can craft gear non-stop. You'll have I literally had 7 exalts in Act 1. 7. Granted, if you've never played PoE2, that is definitely on the lucky side. I think on average you get like between 1 and 3. But I mean, I don't have mass data on that. But everyone I know that played PoE2 got at least 1 Exalt in Act 1. So that's a very small pool of people. I mean, that never happens at Ruthless. If I see 1 Exalt on League Start of Ruthless, like in global chat, that's crazy. Are all of these things enough? Do we even need more evidence? I think not. But let's talk about something also insane. Let's talk about gold. We don't have gold in Ruthless. What does gold do for you in PoE2? Well, you can respec your ascendancy, you can respec any node you want, and it's funny seeing people be like, hey, like the nodes are really expensive to refund. No, it's pretty free. It's pretty free to refund your character anytime you want. Like in Ruthless, for the entire campaign, you get 15 free refunds from doing all the quests and whatever. And this, you just have infinite refunds. And remember, to refund your ascendancy is 5 points. So either 5 of those 15 or 5 regrets. Good luck getting 5 regrets in the campaign, buddy. My God, do you have any idea how valuable regrets are? It always, like, anytime you see someone come into Ruthless, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna pick, like, a Lyra and then change my bandit later on, people will always laugh. 20 regrets is like deleting your bank account. And just to change your bandit is insane. But in this, 20 refunds is like nothing. Refunding 20 points is nothing. So I am level 21. Let's see how many in theory I could respec. Oh god, let's not do that though. Let's see how many I could do. Oops. So after doing the campaign and not grinding or farming gold for days, because remember, I just rerolled this character. And all like I had 700k before I rerolled, so like I kept gambling on stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I have not farmed any money for days. I just hit maps last night. I've done like 4 maps on this character. Oh my god. Have I made my point yet with the gold? I don't know how many I can do, but look at this. Do you see this? How many can I actually do? Okay, I think I've proven my point. This is getting this is getting a bit tedious at this point. Okay, whatever. You see, I'm still not even done. 62 points. I can refund 62 points. I can even do more. Like, I can refund my entire character. My entire character. I have one character that's level 80, and this character is level 71. Like, I don't know what to say, but it's significantly easier. Like, imagine, oh my god, as someone that, even in Boat League, right? Even this last league where it was a joke to get currency, 70 regrets is wild. Absolutely wild, and it's a joke to get it. Now, let's talk about the one thing that is, like, unarguably insanely more difficult in PoE2 as opposed to Ruthless. You probably already know where I'm going with this, but let's talk about Lab. Lab, if I don't care who you are, there is no argument that PoE2's ascendancy isn't 1,000 times harder than PoE1. I have played some of the most dog shit, ridiculous characters you can ever think of in Ruthless, even on like 1 or 2 links, and I could still do my Merc Lab, and I always get my Uber Lab done if I want it. That's not the case for this game. Now, I would make the argument Lab isn't so much hard as it is broken because it's basically impossible for like 80% of characters. If you look on trade, people are paying like 5 or 6 exalts just to get their third lab carried for them. That is how hard it is. It is insanely hard, and it's only hard because it's kind of just cheap. Like Sanctum stuff and Ultimatum are super RNG and luck dependent. Granted, if you're playing a super hyper meta insane character, you're probably like, what are you talking about? I did lab with my eyes closed. Most people aren't in that situation. Now, like I said, I would make the argument this is more broken than hard, but that's how the game is right now, so it is undoubtedly infinitely harder. So I will give you that. Another argument I hear is that the campaign is like insanely hard. Yes, but only the first time around. Once you actually know what the bosses do and you've actually gone through the campaign, it is very easy, it's very simple. And the reason for that, let's talk about the dodge roll. The dodge roll is insane. The dodge roll is the most powerful thing I've ever seen in the ARPG. It feels like I'm playing Dark Souls and I'm an unkillable god. Now, granted, even with the dodge roll, there's still going to be a lot of situations where you die. But dude, this thing is insane. And do I need to mention that Ruthless has no movement skills? We have one real one called Quick Step. Quick Step does not let you move through objects, does not let you go up cliffs, doesn't go through enemies like this. But guess what? Quick Step has like a 7-second cooldown. This is me holding spacebar. I'm just holding spacebar. Yeah. Zero cooldown. It's just an animation, and once the animation is done, I would like to know if you have action speed, does the roll go faster? Because if it does, okay. But anyway, so the campaign, yes, the first maybe 1 or 2 times you play it is pretty rough. And I'm sure on hardcore there's going to be like points where it's like, very intense gear checks. But that's always the case for hardcore. That's not really a new thing. So in my opinion, the campaign is not more difficult. If anything, it's kind of easier. It's way easier once you factor in, all the free gear and currency. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. PoE2 is nothing like Ruthless. Like, the only way it's similar is I'm not using Flame Dash. That's it. And we don't have a crafting bench. That's it. I don't feel like I'm playing Ruthless. I feel like I'm playing Bench League with some light restrictions. Kind of off topic a little bit, but what did they do to our uniques? Look at Frost Breath. What did they do to it? All the unique, well, I should say all, but almost every single unique of the game has just been dumbed down and turned into trash, which is really sad to see. I mean, Cloak of Flames is like basically unusable on here. I mean, sure, if you had some crazy endgame build, I'm sure you could fit it in there, but it's pretty terrible. I don't know, man. The uniques are awful. So I guess that's technically difficulty, but it's more of just makes me sad. But anyway, Path of Exile 2 is awesome. If you're wondering, hey, is it worth $30? I would say yes, But if you're not like a huge fan of ARPGs, I would say no, wait for PoE2 to be free. But Path of Exile 2 as an ARPG is easily, easily better than every other ARPG out there other than Path of Exile. So at this game's worst, it's the second best. So I don't know what to tell you. The game is really fun, but when people are telling you this game is ruthless or as difficult as ruthless or more so, I would just like to say that they're wrong, and I think there's a lot of evidence to support that. And we're not. I don't really want to get into the whole like we're like day 6 into the game, like not just the league, but the whole game, and people are already one-shotting the end game bosses. Like you're never gonna do that on Ruthless. Sure, maybe if you're on Ruthless Trade and you have like a full team of people, you'll face tank and one shot. Actually, I don't even think you could one shot Ubers in PoE1. Period. Can you even? I mean, maybe. Okay, in bench league, sure. I'm talking about Ruthless. In 6 days, I'm sure some god tier players could get to Ubers and do it, but they're not one shotting it. That's all I gotta say. So that's just another layer of how much easier this game is. But again, easier doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. I have no. I'm not trying to get Ruthless 2.0 here. Would that be awesome? Yes, but that's never going to happen. That's not going to happen. Ruthless is not for most people, and that's okay because I've always said the best thing about Path of Exile is we all get to play however we want. Path of Exile 2 is a good game, but it's not Ruthless.